Matthew has already brought significant impacts to coastal areas and even farther inland. Overnight, I have a summary of just some of the reports that we've received. In terms of rainfall, the low country has already had 10 to 14 inches. 5 to 11 inches has fallen across the Grand Strand, PD, and Eastern Midlands. And even in parts of the upstate, they've received 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. So we've seen extreme amounts of rainfall, and we're seeing extensive flash flooding ongoing pretty much across the entire eastern part of the state. Winds have been, the highest peak gust we've seen so far is 88 miles per hour in Hilton Head, 82 miles an hour in Beaufort, 75 miles an hour in Folly Beach, 71 miles an hour in Georgetown. And even inland, we're still seeing tropical storm force wind gusts. We've had gusts to 58 miles an hour in Orangeburg, 55 miles an hour at McIntyre, and all the way in the upstate in Greenwood, they had 39 mile an hour wind gusts, which is tropical storm force. So these winds are pretty extensive across the area. In terms of the storm surge, down at Fort Pulaski, just across the state line in Georgia, they set a new record stage on the tide gauge there, 12.52 feet. That's an all-time record, higher than Hurricane David in 1971. And Charleston Harbor, they reached 9.29 feet overnight. That's the third highest on record and the highest since Hurricane Hugo. So what to expect here over the next couple of hours, Matthew's going to continue lifting off to the northeast. We're still going to see significant storm surge, and with the focus now shifting north of the Charleston area where they could see 5 to 7 foot inundation. In addition, additional heavy rainfall is going to continue to fall. We're expecting another 5 to 7 inches across the northeast part of the state. So while some areas have had already significant impacts, we're still expecting a lot worse to come to the northeast part of the state and up in the Myrtle Beach area. Thank you.
Thank you, John. So as you can tell, a lot is still going on, whether it's winds or rain. We're having flooding events, very similar to like what we had last year. So it's still a very serious situation, and we are not out of the woods. I know the storm is today and starting to pass certain areas, but all areas still remain dangerous that we have to be cautious with. So we are going to be waiting on the counties to assess the damage. They're going to be working with law enforcement, DOT crews, and utilities to get in as soon as they can. So it's still not safe for some of them to get in. So as soon as they can get in, they're going to go in, try and clear things up so that we can move forward. In the next 2 days, you'll see them working in those areas. 2,700 DOT maintenance crew members are ready to go and ready to get to work. The southern part of I-95 is closed, and we want to make sure that you understand we have lots of trees down there, but we have lots of trees down on a lot of primary and secondary roads. And so until we can really get an analysis of that, the driving conditions are still not safe. The dam activity, I know a lot of people want to know about dams. Your best bet is to go to the www.emd.org website. That will give you all the updates on what the dams are doing, which are the most heavy, which ones we're watching, and what you can expect from there. We've had something interesting happen overnight that we want to tell all residents of. We have a cyber situation that is going on, in that people will start receiving emails and they will tell you that they have updates on outages. And if you want to know the updates on outages, click here. Once you click there, they get into your computer. So if you do not know the if you do not know the person sending you the email, delete it, don't click, because that's started to become a bit of a concern. And so we want everybody to know that's not just state emails, that's across the board. People are seeing those emails, so please do be cautious as you move forward with that. Counties still have curfews, and so we'd ask you to pay attention to your local authorities and local EMD stations in terms of what those curfews are, and please abide by those. They're doing that for a reason, and that may mean that they absolutely have more information that you would think that they have, and that it's still not safe to get out. We currently have 78 shelters with 6,651 residents. That's up from 4,250 last night. We have 725 staffers with DSS and other agencies that are staffing and keeping everybody comfortable and keeping them safe. The 3 shelters that are the fullest right now are Jasper, Ridgeland, and North Charleston as we go forward. We have 9 open special needs facilities right now, and we have 52 residents in those. We still have plenty of room and capacity in all of our shelters. So that is not an issue in terms of what anyone should be worried about. Power outages. This is pretty amazing. We have 437,303 power outages. During the last storm, we had 350,000. So we have far surpassed those, and the outages we're seeing most in Beaufort, Charleston, and Richland. They are trying to get into Richland now and get those back up and going. So we will continue to watch that, but they are trying to move as fast as they can where it's safe to go and move possible. There is no accessibility into Kiowa and Seabrook at all. All of that access is down because of trees or power lines, so that's not accessible at all. We're very closely watching the Black, the Waccamaw, and the Edisto rivers. We do expect the Waccamaw River to crest probably around Monday or Tuesday. Those are all rivers that we need to watch, and if you remember the flood from last year, that caused a lot of additional problems to go along with that, so we're going to be watching those closely as well. Cell service is down in Pawleys Island. We know that as of now. And then basically we will continue to get a lot more information on the different areas and what's going on. So I will do another afternoon press conference to bring you up to date on what we know with those issues. The one thing I do want to say is now is when the frustration sets in, because the anxiousness is when the storm is coming. When the storm hits, you're praying, and then now the frustration sets in. And what I am going to ask for you is patience. Most injuries, most fatalities occur after a storm because people attempt to move in too soon. Do not plan on going back home today or tomorrow. It is not going to be safe for you to go in. Between down power lines and trees, and then just unsafe structures, bridges, all of those things. I know you want to see your home. I know you want to get back. In some cases, law enforcement's not going to let you get back in because the roads are closed and they can't get through there. So, we'd ask that you stay safe. And by doing that, one other thing that's very important to us is we very quickly have to get law enforcement, utility crews, DOT crews in there, everybody to get in there so that they can start cleaning up as fast as they can and surveying the damage. And so that surveying of the damage can't happen if you're in there. So even if you got in there, you would be in the way of everyone. So while I know this is hard and many of you are wondering the status of your homes, just know that we want to make it safe for you to find out that status. And we are going to do it as fast as we can and as smooth as we can. But at this point, I would ask that you plan on continuing to hunker down today and tomorrow, and we will give you real-time information as we have it at these press conferences so that you can know that when you do go, you won't be sent back. You will actually be able to go in, and it will be safe for you to go in. So with that, I will go ahead and open it up to you for any other questions you may have.
Governor, you said there are 400,000 outages. In light of the population, does that mean 10% of the state's population is without power?
That means that 437,000 people are without power.
Governor, if not today or tomorrow, when do you think people might be able to return home at this point?
So I think a lot will happen today and tomorrow. And I think we'll be able to know exactly, at least the best part of it is, we will have information for residents to make those decisions. Because we will know what roads are closed, we will know what areas have down power lines, we'll know what bridges are insecure. We'll know a lot more information. So that's why we're asking for patience today and tomorrow, is because we will be doing as much surveillance. In a lot of cases, law enforcement still can't get out there to even see what the situation is. Overnight, obviously it was dark. We couldn't do that. So today will be a full day of just trying to get reports from the counties and see how they're doing. But I would say safely, Saturday and Sunday, I would not expect to be able to go back home. And, if we can get in front of that, we certainly will tell you. But for right now, talking to all the people on the ground, it's not going to be safe.
Do you expect to have to extend the schools being out in Richland and Lexington, the Midlands, another day to maybe allow those folks to come home, free up the roads?
So I think we'll know a little bit more again tomorrow. What we're going to do is The Department of Transportation is working with the Department of Education to see what secondary roads are needed to get to school, as well as the primary roads. So we're actually working on that now to make sure that those are cleared so that kids can return back to school. But I think we'll have more information on that tomorrow.
Governor, are you guys worried about the water flowing down from the upstate? Is that one of the concerns with the rivers that you're talking about?
When you look at the rivers, that's what we're seeing. I mean, we're looking at definitely the Waccamaw, but the other two, we just have to see. This is a rainfall event too. So if you look at those numbers of inches in rain that we were getting, they're pretty high numbers. And so that always affects those three rivers in particular, as well as some others. So today we're going to be doing a lot of river analysis, bridge analysis, and flooding analysis to see how much and how bad this is going to be and how that will affect further downstream areas.
Did we have anyone leave last night? Did we ever get a total evacuees number?
From the total number of evacuees?
Yeah.
I think what we gave you was last
That was
night's
the
number,
most recent.
yes.
Any reports of deaths at all so far in South Carolina?
No. And I say that cautiously. We did have one fatality in our Ridgeland Correctional Facility, but it doesn't seem to be related to the storm at all. They just can't get in. They can't, so this is now really search and rescue, and so maybe this afternoon, but I'm praying for none.
There was an unconfirmed, I think, report about a tornado in North Myrtle Beach. Was there a tornado in North Myrtle Beach?
I think we did get confirmation that there was a tornado in North Myrtle Beach, is that right?
I know we had received reports of damage up in the North Myrtle Beach area. I don't know if the National Weather Service out of the Wilmington office has gone out there yet, but they'll probably have to go and do a survey of the damage.
But they did say there was damage in North Myrtle Beach. Any other questions?
When you do announce a way for folks to go back, how will the lane reversals work? How will the passes work?
So we don't think that we're gonna have to do lane reversals, because what's gonna happen is every place isn't gonna be okay all at once. We did the lane reversals because we had to get everyone out all at once. We don't have to get everyone back in all at once. What we're gonna do is, as places are safe, we're gonna say go on back home. And there's gonna be certain places that take a little bit longer, but we don't see the need to do another lane reversal.
And so you see that being broken down like neighborhood by neighborhood, you would say all of Charleston would go home?
I think it'll depend on, the Tri-County area works really well together, and so I do expect that they'll all look at the damage and see. Our goal is to let you get back and tell you what's dangerous, right? So what areas what roads are not passable, what bridges are down, what areas, so that we can give you a better way to get back to your home. So as soon as they get, the main thing is power lines, flooded roads, all of those things are extremely dangerous, and you could drive up on that and not know, and then that's when fatalities occur. So as soon as those areas open up, we're gonna give out as much information as we can so that everybody knows. And we're working very closely with the counties on that. The counties will be assessing it with our teams as well, so that we can make the right decision.
We've been hearing a lot of comparisons with Hugo on television and so forth. How would this really, at this moment, the surge and all compare with Hugo?
I don't know if we have the answer to that just yet until the storm starts pulling out and we could, collect all the data for it. But like I said, looking at the tide levels in Charleston Harbor, it's the worst since Hugo, certainly. I don't know in terms of the impacts of the storm surge how they compare, but it's right up there with Hugo, certainly. I think, or at least in the past, 25 years, the worst we've seen.
Based on what you've seen overnight on the storm, do you believe that lives could have been saved because of those evacuations we had?
You're always, in this situation, you have a lot of anxiety trying to get everybody to get out. And then once you get at the end of a storm, you just wonder how many people you lost. And so that, that's something that you continue to think about, and that's why we are always so passionate about getting people out, is because we know how bad it's gonna be. We know what's getting ready to happen. And for people who decided to stay home, that sits with you, because you can only say so much. And so at this point, I just pray that everybody was on high level land, and that, if they were in the shelters, were comfortable that they were taken care of in the shelters. But those that decide to stay home, really what you'll be seeing DNR and all of their colleagues doing, and assistance, will be all search and rescue at this point. Now it's about trying to save lives. Okay, thank you very much. We will do another press conference this afternoon.